Welcome back to Ring Your Tailgate. It is a Wednesday edition of the show. We got a lot of fun here, a lot of big segments to get to, our reactions. We got Big Van on campus, one that crosses into the professional ranks. We're going to have some fun with that as well. But first and foremost, I've had a lot of listeners reach out and ask a simple question. So I wanted to open the show with that question to you guys. And I'll start with you, Van. What is your tailgate drink of choice? There's been a lot of people that are like, if you're going to have a tailgate show, I need to know what you're drinking at the tailgate. So, Van, I lob that up to you. What you drinking at the tailgate?
A Beta beer. I don't know if
There
you
you
guys
go.
ever heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a Louisiana beer from down home. I love it. Reminds me of a crisp yet humid Saturday morning down there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I go with the Abita.
The Abita. Good answer. What about you, Joel? What's your drink of choice?
I'm sort of a sweet drink kind of person. So I like a cider. So a woodchuck cider. We could go to Granny Smith or just the regular flavor, but that'd probably be, they have a nice, also like some seasonal offerings as well. So, that's one of those two. But yeah, any woodchuck cider, I'm in for that.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if he's drinking cider is the question. I did not have cider on the big board as the answer, but Joel, Van, you got a beer, you got a cider. Down south in North Carolina, we like a bourbon, you know what I mean? So like a whiskey ginger was always a nice mix, you know what I mean? But, in the morning time for a noon game, that's always tough.
You're trying to end up on Wall Star, Tate. You know what I'm saying?
Fucked up in the morning. I don't know. I'm not. It's not. So, I mean, the tailgate doesn't necessarily have to be in the morning. It could be in the afternoon. But
that's right.
I kind of want to watch the game with my brain cells intact. So I'm just gonna sip on some beer. I'm not gonna go straight for the Everclear while I'm at the tailgate, like Tate is.
Yeah, well, look, when you have to watch Carolina football, you need all you can take to get yourself out of the mindset to watch some football. We got a good show for you. We got reactions. We got previews. We got all that and more coming up on Ring Your Tailgate. This is Ring Your Tailgate presented by FanDuel, and college football Saturdays are already delivering. Every game means something right now. Ranking shift, upsets hit, and the best place to stay on top of it all, FanDuel. Whether you're riding a noon kickoff or betting the late games, FanDuel lets you bet it your way. Same game parlays, live betting, player props, alt lines, whatever your angle is, it lives in the app. So if you're watching all the action, bet on it now with FanDuel. Download the app and head to FanDuel.com/tailgate and make every Saturday count. The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available, and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. All right, let's get into it, Van. One big reaction. We talked on Saturday. Boy, do we have a lot of fun on Saturday. The ranked game of the weekend was right after. Well, kicked off about in the middle of our stream, so we didn't get too much reaction on that, so I'm sure we'll hit that. But first and foremost, I think you're going to talk about the biggest storyline in college football. So let's start there. One big reaction. What you got, Van?
Billy Napier's back on the hot seat.
Oh, man.
This is a story that won't die down in Gainesville. Billy Napier on the hot seat. Everyone who was talking about SEC football last year thought that there was no way that he finished the season as Florida's coach, right? But what happens? They catch lightning in the bottle. They beat LSU. They run off some wins. They also have DJ Lagway, who is a young quarterback that everybody says is going to be the next big thing. So conventional wisdom says they're going to be a lot better this year. And not only is his seat not going to be hot this year, his seat is going to be solidified to where he can coach from it and build a kingdom, right? It's not a seat, it's a throne. See, vulnerable coaches sit on hot seats. Solidified coaches sit on thrones in college football. That's the way that it works.
Yeah,
cool.
Like
the reality with that is you thought that he had changed it around and he was building towards that one loss to USF, and now he is back on the hot seat again, coaching with the puckered asshole from here to the rest of the season.
Yeah, kingdoms were not built on 20-20 records. He's 500 right now during his time at Florida. Joel, do you think it's fair that he's back on the hot seat? Obviously, he was on it last year. He gets off the hot seat, but he's quickly back there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what you think about firing coaches. I'm probably more conservative. You got to give guys a chance to win out. I feel like a couple of recruiting cycles is like the fair thing. That's a very 1980s ass approach to this whole thing. And so given that this is his fourth year, so this is your program. These are your guys. There's no more excuses. You brought in who you wanted to get in. You got rid of who you wanted to get in. You've got all the facility upgrades. Like Florida doesn't basically take a backseat to anybody in terms of like what resources location to talent, proximity to talent, any of that stuff. And yet it's this. And I assume, and from what I can tell from the internet and having lived in Florida, I know that Florida Gators fans think that they're better than this. They think that they should be Georgia, that they should be Alabama. And they have evidence of that. They've seen it happen. So yeah, this is unacceptable, because the thing is, even if you acknowledge the fact that Florida has, according to PFF, the third toughest remaining schedule in the country, the thing is, people should look at your schedule and say, well, shit, man, we got to play Florida. Not, man, Florida has to go on the road, to play against Texas and stuff like that. Like that, they think that it should be flipped, that they're the A side of the marquee, not the B side. So, yeah, man, I got to think that. I mean, this is totally fair. You should be able to win 10 games at Florida. Like you don't always have to. We're not talking about Georgia or Texas or one of the schools that have all those advantages, but you should be able to win 10 games at Florida after 4 years.
And it kind of started with Spurrier, right? Spurrier comes down from Duke and kind of resets that program. Obviously, he won a Heisman there as a player as well, but really when he came there as a coach, that's when the program became solidified as a top-tier program. We obviously know about the Urban Meyer era as well, but when Spurrier came, that kind of set the standard. When Napier got hired, Van, he obviously wasn't adored from day one. Do you think that kind of still kind of counts against him a little bit? Like, they never really welcomed him with open arms.
No, I think it's largely about what's happened on the field now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back to this. The conversation around when you let go of a coach or move on from a coach is always going to be one that depends on what you think the right way to build a program is. So the right way to build a program by bringing a guy in there and expecting, add water, and then things turn around. No, we've seen that before. We saw Nick Saban lose to UL Monroe earlier in his tenure at Alabama. We've seen that coaches, takes time for them to get their guys in. But you know what it matters, though, in this situation? It matters how these teams are playing. And when I say how they're playing, I mean whether or not there's snap on offense, whether or not there's snap on defense, whether or not there is effort, passion, whether or not there's execution. When we talking about coaching, it's one thing to have guys out there that can't execute the game plan that you're asking them because they can't win their one-on-ones. That's not what we're talking about. Are we making the same mistakes in year 4 that we made in year 2? Do these games look the same? Do things feel the same? Because if the program isn't evolving and getting better, I'm not talking about not quitting. His teams don't quit. That's very true. But if the program isn't evolving and getting better, the question that you'd have to ask is, when is that going to start happening? I'm not saying that they should get rid of their coach right now. I'm not the type of person that ever roots for somebody to lose their job. But what I am saying is that there are things that you can look at besides wins and losses to decide whether or not a coach and their messaging is having an effect and resonating with the locker room. And those are the questions that people are asking about Billy Napier.
Yeah, and the grass isn't always greener, right? Dan Mullen was there, had a better record. They get rid of Dan Mullen, and now, he's at UNLV. They're 3-0. They lead the country in penalties. Shout out to our guy, Vontez Burfict. And, again, for the Florida fans, they're like, wait a second, we got rid of this guy, and we don't look like a better program for it. Joel, you wanted to pick back up on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, you took my point there, that Dan Mullen, people overlooked what he did. And of course, I mean, he was 5-6 in his final year. They finished 5-6. Like, that's not the trajectory you want in your 4th year. That was his 4th year. But Dan Mullen is a good coach, man. And they won 10 games and 11 games his first couple years. Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier spoiled the Florida fan base. And so they don't realize that, like, yo, man, y'all are traditionally, you are not one of those heavyweights. Like, your spot is up for grabs every year, depending on coach. I see Van laughing at me, but because I always say that about you. I'm hard on that stuff, but everybody, you don't have a right to be 12-1, right? Like 9-3.
Joe, who hasn't been down? Name me a college football program that hasn't been down.
Ohio
right now,
State.
It's like
Ohio
saying,
State.
Who?
Ohio State.
Ohio State hasn't been down. So
right.
Oklahoma's
been down maybe 3 years of my life.
Oklahoma has been maybe down
4.
Just recently.
Well, 4 years. Okay, maybe 4
right.
years.
So Oklahoma. So what I'm saying is, like, if Ohio State may be the most consistent program in the history of college football, I get it. But, like, you're always in college football one coaching hire away from not being traditionally where you've been or being better traditionally than you've been. So the legacy of Florida football, that's come on, man.
What? No, I'm not. I didn't say they were bad, but I'm saying and every school can be judged this way. Outside of your great coaches, who are you, right? Like LSU, and this is a credit to your school. I'm gonna even shout out your program, Van. Nobody thinks that Ed Orgeron is some sort of genius or that Les Miles was, but in this current era, LSU is so good and has enough talent and enough resources that you would be upset if they were Florida right now, and they've not been Florida in this generation. And I'm just saying that Florida has no, outside of that great era, they have no right to that. Like 9-3 should be fine, right? Like you should be able to accept that sometimes.
Also, it helps when you win the national championship in basketball, right? I mean, that at least keeps the fans at bay for a little bit. Man, I mean, obviously these are football fans in the SEC, but it's nice to win something, right? I mean, that feels good.
You think people in Florida care about basketball, Tate? I don't think they do. I think they onto that. You know,
let me tell you what I know.
They're from that.
Let me tell you what I know that they care about. And it's undeniable that Steve Spurrier put Florida in a different stratosphere. I don't want to act like that's not true in terms of their expectations, but their expectations are there. 9-3 is not going to get it done in Florida. So it makes no sense to tell the fan base that they should be okay with 9-3 because they're not.
If they went 9-3 this year, he keeps his job, though.
If he went 9-3 this year, yeah, because he's coming off that. But
he might be in the playoff.
They want to see, you can make an argument that with that schedule, 9-3 should get you in the playoff. I don't know if a loss to South Florida is a part of that equation, but
well, what if they're in the playoff? You know what I mean? That would be the argument.
Maybe, but what I'm saying is the expectations at a school like that, at Florida, they want excellence and the swamp, and so that's what they're expecting. And if Billy Napier can't give it to them, then they're going to look for somebody else.
Absolutely. And it might be Alex Golish, right? Who's the head coach of USF right across the field this weekend where they, obviously the grass, like I said, isn't always greener, but it might be with a guy like him who's been able to get that offense flowing and churning. And obviously it wasn't so much in that game, but got enough for them to get the win. And now we have another conversation about Billy Napier. Billy Napier, by the way, seems very unaffected by the conversation, maybe because he's already kind of weathered the storm before. He did handle the press conference really well. Joel, I mean, right now, if you're Billy Napier, what's the message to the locker room if there is a message?
We still have a lot to play for. Look, everything is still ahead of us. If they win every game on their schedule, they're going to be in. If they only lose one more game, they probably are going to be in. So that's what you can say. It's like everybody thinks that our season is over. But we have enough talent in this locker room. Everybody that thought we were great, there's a reason they thought we were great. We still have enough talent in this locker room to go ahead and win. But, I mean, the reality is, if you're on the outside of it, it'd be like, man, you have one of the hardest schedules in the country, and you just lost a game that should have been one of your gimmies.
Can I point to a moment that is one of the banes of my existence but matters in this conversation we're having right now?
Please.
The Tim Tebow Ole Miss speech. Okay? Now, look.
Legendary.
Guys, I'm just going to be honest. Man, we're doing a show. And I don't want to come off like a homer, but I just want everyone to know that's listening to my voice right now, how hard it is for me to give props to Tim Tebow. It's just it's one of the most difficult things, right? But I have to. The reason why is because every single locker room of every elite team needs a guy who can deliver that type of speech. And not to the media, to the national media, but to the locker room. Someone that can say, you know what? We came out and we laid an egg. We lost to a team we shouldn't have lost to. Everything's still in front of us, and what we are going to do is regroup, recommit, and rededicate ourselves to coming out and having a fantastic season. Does that guy exist in Florida's locker room? How many teams in college football right now have that guy? And it doesn't have to be a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback to deliver that. It could be your Sam linebacker. It could be your safety. It could be the lineman. It could be somebody that's a walk-on.
Ed Reed, right?
Believe it. It can be. It's normally an excellent player, but leaders in the locker room, who has those that can get those guys back believing in what they do on the field? That's the question that's probably going to be asked in Florida's locker room right now. And the question is, if you don't have that guy, if that guy doesn't exist in your locker room, does that reflect on the coaching and the program building that exists in Gainesville? Those are the things that you're asking yourself.
Yeah, one name that came to mind when you mentioned that, and I talked to Joel about this earlier in the season, Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. He seems like the most Tebow kind of genetic baby, whatever you want to call it, of this generation of guys that can go and do power lifts with the linemen and send a message that way. But again, is that a guy in, the Florida locker room that can get that done? We'll be talking about Billy Napier, I'm sure, on Saturday and kind of their setup going into that LSU game. Kind of feels like a must win at this point. My one big reaction, he's talking shit, and I'm talking about Steve Sarkisian. He was asked about, there was the video that got circulated of Arch Manning. We got Arch madness at this point. Arch is the talking point. People are watching all of his games. Just look at the ratings. But again, there was a video where he's flinching, wincing, whatever you want to call it after he makes a throw. Sark was asked about this, and he said this, quote, "I've never filmed any of you guys when you're using the bathroom, so I don't know what faces you make when you do that," end quote. Van, I'll go to you first. Is he saying that Arch is shitting himself on the field? What's the correlation? What were your thoughts when you saw what Sark said?
Is he hurt or not? Okay? Is he hurt or not, man? Coaches, we different now. We can see when you guys are doing the coach speak and not getting to it. Hey, the situation is this deal. It looked like it hurt to throw the football. That's what it looked like. It looked like, oh my God, we've all been there. I'm 45 years old. A couple of days ago, I was walking the dog, and the dog pulled me too hard, and I thought I had dislocated my shoulder. If they had a slow-mo on that, I would have looked like Arch. The reality is, if somebody would have said, damn, Van, are you all right? Are you okay? I can't look at them and go, hey, mind your business. No. Answer the question. Is your shoulder okay? Is he okay? He seems to be. They're putting him out there. Made a lot of throws. He ran the ball. He did a whole. But obviously, from the outside looking in, that video is concerning. It's a concerning thing. And this is part of the thing with Arch. Rather than have a straight-up conversation about what he can do and where he's at, they cook the books to make his legend larger than what it is. Just talk to people and answer the question. If there's no story, then just say that.
And wouldn't that help his legend, right? If he is a little bit hurt or a little bit banged up? I mean, he's taken some hits. He runs the football. He's obviously, goes up against an Ohio State defense that's taking licks on him. I mean, Joel, wouldn't that be a better story if he was a little bit banged up? I'm confused by the quote and just sort of the intent behind it.
I mean, I guess the thing is that coaches are very cagey around injuries, right? They don't want to release anything. They don't want to reveal too much. What my reasoning in this situation that we're all reading too much into it is that why would the team risk him against San Jose State and UTSA and this run of guys? You don't need Arch Manning to beat this team, right? So if he is hurt, if there's a little something wrong with his shoulder, it'd be easy to say, hey, look, we're going to sit him out, or he's going to have limited reps in the game this week, right? And I can't imagine. I mean, Arch Manning is basically his own corporation. Like, if he's really hurt,
Warby Parker, Red Bull, right? He's got all these
Vori, man. Bill's got the Vori thing too, So yeah, they both got a lot. Man, that looks like a really nice brand of workout clothes. But
he's doing a plug right now.
Yeah, it does. It looks really nice. I couldn't afford. I can't afford that. I get my stuff at TJ Maxx when I used to work out. But no coach is going to reveal any of that stuff. So, but no, what I was okay. Let me get my thought back. See, I had forgotten it, man.
All right. You got 2 lost in the ad.
I got 2 lost. Right. Yeah. Arch and the Manning family are not going to risk that industry right there. They're not going to fuck up his draft status. They're not going to expose him to more injury. So I think that's kind of if Arch was really hurt in such a way that it was really serious, I cannot imagine that they would put him out there. Now, maybe I'm being naive, but I think he would get to decide whether or not he should be playing or not.
But going back to Van's point about the lore of Arch Manning, right? The entire offseason when they asked him about the backup quarterback, they kept saying, we don't have a backup. Like, we don't have they basically were bragging about the fact that they don't have anyone behind Arch because that's how much they believe in Arch, which is also now fascinating because if he was a little bit banged up, you don't have a backup quarterback. Am I crazy to feel that way, Van?
I don't think you're crazy to feel that way at all. And everything that Joel said is absolutely true, and I agree with Joel. I think he's okay enough to be out there. But back to the point, explain the video. Hey, it looked like he threw the ball and it hurt. That's what it looked like. He was grimacing, wincing noticeably on a ball that died. Another one, right? Because you're also combining this with the fact that every couple of passes, Arch throws one that dies 3 or 4 yards before the intended receiver.
Right.
Very weird.
So if
Very
you're
weird.
asking yourself, why does that happen to him? And you're looking at, maybe it's mechanics, maybe he's not setting his feet right, or whatever's going on. The answer of there's something wrong there physically is going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people, particularly if you have a close-up on his face and it looks like he's hurt. So either he is or he isn't. I think what Joel said made a ton of sense. But from the head coach's perspective, I would expect him to just say, hey, guess what? He's 100% fine and ready to go, and there is nothing wrong. Next question.
And from the Meteor's perspective, I think it's fair to the question you said, Van, right from the jump. Is he hurt or not? Like, the follow-up is simple, right? You talk about me going to the bathroom and being constipated and making faces. I mean, I think it's fine to follow up and say, well, back to the original point, is he hurt or not?
Tate, did y'all follow that? Because I actually, when he said it, I didn't even really kind of understand. Like, I was like, I get that, like, when you're on the toilet, you might make a face. And that Arch made a face, but is that the sole connection that you both make faces? And
well,
I didn't get
that. Doesn't happen to me. So that doesn't happen to me.
What?
Because
when,
if you
want
You're
to
stoic on the toilet, right?
If we're
stoic on the stool.
why. If we're plugging stuff, then I got to plug Benefiber because I'm popping them. Okay, I'm popping them. I got the fiber supplements. I got the Trust Your Gut supplement because it was happening for a while. So it's not happening to me. The question I would ask Sark is, how's his diet? Like, what's he going through? You know what I mean? So that for me, that's not a thing. That's not happening.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've been looking at Sark and I was like, you are the first man in the history of fatherhood to lose weight after you had a baby. He and his wife welcomed their first child in April.
Oh, congrats.
Right? Yeah.
Congrats.
So that's just dope. He's a new dad. I'm sure it's an amazing experience for him. But he looks very slender. I was like, okay.
Well, wait a second.
Yeah.
Cool. For a second, Joel. Wait a second. Casting aspersions. Are you saying he's on the Ozempic? Wait. Are you saying he's constipated? Are you saying he's in the constipated because he's on the Ozempic?
I'm not making any allegation. I'm just saying the man looked good. And I just whatever he's on, I would like to know because I never heard of a dad having a baby and then losing weight. It's just,
He also snapped, by the way, kind of like into the Sark that we've seen with the Get Back guy before, that is trying to lead him out of the tunnel where he kind of goes into that crazy rage. He did that with this question. You know what I mean? Like, he got that crazy look in his eyes a little bit. So
as a dad, you gain weight is what you're saying when the baby's had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't even eat a lot. That's the funny thing. Like, you don't even really get a chance to eat. Well, like, I have to wait basically until my kids. So I'm probably eating dinner every night, like 11:30. Yeah. And imagine you wait all day to have something you really want. You're probably not gonna settle for a nice salad.
Yeah, I never. I haven't been through that. I'm always able to come up with that $500. So.
He's got to figure it out.
Yeah,
come on, man.
I'm always able to. Anytime that call, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got you.
I will
take care of everything.
Man, see, man. You know what though? I mean, like I said, the second one I really didn't quite plan for. So
I'm
kind of
playing, guys. It's a joke. Okay, it's a joke.
No, I mean, I know it's 500. Is it still 500?
Joel's just getting out these products. That's what matters.
Is it still 500? But yeah, no, man, Sark, man, he looks good. Just shout him out, man. He's got.
And this was a nice deflection, right? If you're Sark, get the conversation away from Arch, get it onto him and his weird quote about going to the bathroom and all that sort of stuff. So I understand the deflection, but it is a very strange quote. One big reaction, Joel. Obviously, Oklahoma, Michigan did play. We have not talked about that game. What was your big reaction based on what you saw from those two?
Well, so there's two
for
sort
one
of big reactions, right? First things first, great atmosphere in Norman, well played game. Oklahoma proved that it is playoff capable until shown otherwise. And people have been spending the last couple of weeks talking about, man, it's so much better when the Florida teams are good. When all the Florida teams are doing well and they're ranked, college football is better. I actually think football is better when Oklahoma is in the mix and their fans have something to be excited about. Like, I didn't want them. It made me worried that they left for the SEC and were going to become Arkansas. Like, you know, the Arkansas when I was a kid was like
Shots fired at Sam Pittman. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I mean, Arkansas kind of they were sort of a major power, you know, or they,
We're going to talk about when they were a major power a little bit later in Big Van on campus. But yeah, back to the point.
Yeah. They were there. I didn't want Oklahoma to be that, like, be this dominant program and then go over to the SEC and be Ole Miss, right? So it's good when they're back, and Brett Venables needed that. But Sharon Moore, this is my warning to you. They will fire your black ass. Okay? Like, you will.
Race?
Yeah, man. I should have said, I didn't. This is my race stat of the week. Sharon Moore, you shouldn't lose. Don't lose no more games.
You should have skeeted that one.
They were.
That's a skeet. Say that for the skeets, bro.
You want me to do that?
Say that for the skeets. You're skeeting all over the
Van, you're
show.
on Blue Sky. I've seen your handle.
You know why?
You got a handle over there.
Bro, I joined it because they made me. I haven't been on there. People
Blue Sky made you.
Big Blue Sky.
You guys, y'all think this is bullshit. It's true. People ask me to do stuff, and then they say, Van, if you don't do this, you don't really love what you say you love. And I'll be like, God damn, okay, where do I sign up? Blue Sky. I'm not going to name all of the other apps because I tried all the apps.
Are you on Mastodon? Are you on Mastodon too?
Mastodon, Threads, all of them. They just couldn't make it happen, and that's okay. But the skeets, I know people are over there on Blue Sky, and they're skeeting it up, you know, so you have to bring that energy here to the tailgate. I get it.
Well, I'm just saying.
Sharon Moore, be careful out there, but you're worried for him, right, Joe?
Van probably saw it. He's on there. He's on the app, just so you know. He's got the hand. So anyway, but look, man, what I remember, so David Shaw managed to keep Stanford going for a pretty long time. He lasted about another decade after Jim Harbaugh. I mean, it is totally within the range of possibility that a coach can get fired in their second year. It happened with Brian Harsin. It happened with Willie Taggart. Like, this is a thing that big programs will do if they get scared. And what have you really seen in the Sharon Moore era, but for that Ohio State victory, that would make you really excited about the direction of the program? You do have Bryce Underwood, but then you go to Oklahoma and you saddle him with a game plan that sort of neuters him. Like, I watched a little bit of that game. I got a chance to rewatch some of it. And I was just like, okay, I get it. They're trying to protect the freshman on the road in a tight spot against a guy that's a defensive mastermind in Brent Venables. But I don't know, man. Like, Michigan, are you happy with the direction of your program? And don't lie to me. I see you on the internet. I've already seen people calling him a DI hire, and you know, this is this guy, he's not going to make it, and we need to see something, Sharon. Or they were criticizing the way that he was talking to the media. They say, "Oh, show a little emotion, pump these guys up." So you're just seeing sort of a groundswell of discontent there, and I don't know, man. Like, maybe beating Ohio State again this year would be enough if they live up to Van's prediction. But my thought is, man, they better start showing some signs, because Bryce Underwood's on the clock.
And it doesn't help, right, when he has an interim coach coming in. He basically said in his press conference, everything's going to run the same without me. That doesn't help, right, Van? When the coach basically says it'll be the same thing without me.
Yeah, I mean, look, this gets into my one big question.
Okay, perfect.
We talked about, which is, are we sure it's even worth developing these quarterbacks in college football anymore? Because let me tell you what I saw in the Michigan-Oklahoma game. What I saw was John Napier, who basically started his Heisman campaign that night. It wasn't that John Napier was so overwhelming that you went, this is your runaway Heisman winner. But it was that he was given questions by the defense, and he had answers at quarterback, which is the first thing that you want from a guy that's going to be your signal caller and the catalyst of your offense. The defense gives you questions, your quarterback and your play caller answers those questions. And Napier was able to do that. Now, the difference, obviously, between Napier and Underwood is that Napier is older and coming from a situation where he had so many game reps that when he gets on the huge stage, no disrespect to Washington State, but when he gets on the huge stage, he can now execute with a little bit more experience. The thing with Bryce Underwood is it was his second game at quarterback. And I'm not talking about even like Arch, right? Arch had his second game starting, but Arch has been around that program for a long time. I think it is completely well within people's expectations to expect a little bit more from a guy who's been around that long. But even with him, 2 games as the entrenched starting quarterback. And the question I'm starting to ask is it even worth it to develop these guys anymore? Or how are people going about developing them? Because when I look around the country, I see people talking about DJ Lagway, that's a baby starter. Talking about Arch Manning, that's a baby starter. Talking about Bryce Underwood, that's a baby, infant, dada, goo goo gaga starter, right? And when we've looked at the couple of QBs that have been out here that have gone number 1 or won the Heisman, we're talking about guys like Cam Ward, we're talking about guys like Jaden Daniels, we're talking about guys like before him, Caleb Williams, guys that were around and at their second stops on these schools and had a lot of snaps. Not saying that we didn't see flashes of them from the beginning, but had a lot of snaps under them. Now, Sherrone Moore is, in my opinion, under pressure from a fan base to have Bryce Underwood come out and look like something that it would really take a lot for him to look like at this particular point in his development. Man, when Tebow was out there his first year, he was a gadget, gimmick, power, pop
basically
pass
a fullback,
type of guy.
right, at that point. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, there's a question now with the expectations in college football, with the transfer portal really changing the way these players develop. My friend Carter over at Power Hour LSU, a great LSU podcast and film study place, made the point that a lot of the development of players, not even at quarterback, but at other positions, is being hampered by the fact that if you get a 5-star, 4-star transfer in, and you have your guy that you recruited, it doesn't matter about the fact that you already have this guy on your team. You have to give the reps that you have in practice to the big-time transfer that you have, and that hurts the development of some of the other guys that you have in your program. I think it's a great point. I think it's also the reason why we're seeing some of these players, not just at QB, but at all these positions, bust out a little bit more than what they would have in other scenarios. Long-winded, but that's to say, it's almost as if what fan bases really want is for you to go buy a good QB to put around your offense and have somebody that you can actually criticize honestly and not say that they are inexperienced. And I wonder how that affects the development from a psychological standpoint of a young quarterback.
I think that'd be crazy, bro. I mean, do you really want to play transfer portal roulette every offseason? I mean, sometimes you get John Napier, sometimes you get DJ Ugalele. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you might get Mark Gronowski, who's there at Iowa. Like that was Iowa's big offseason pickup. Like, man, we got the guy from South Dakota, bro. He's really good. He's going to revolutionize our offense. And they were out there putting up 13 in a rivalry game, So I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. But it is sort of like a twist on my idea I've always had in the NFL. If you're not going to get Peyton Manning, if you're not going to get Cam Newton, if you're not going to get, whatever people thought Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be, if it's not going to be the generational guy, just get a bunch of guys and keep trying. Use the veteran guy that's out there on the market. That's what Van is arguing for. And I sort of agree with that, but I think that all changes if you've got Peyton Manning or Cam Newton, and that's who Bryce Underwood is supposed to be. He's supposed to be that sort of a generational guy that you can build a program around for 3 years and they can develop an identity around that dude. If it's just, whatever 4-star that happened to show up, whatever, but this is supposed to be a special dude. And so I think you got to make it work with that guy. Anybody else, I get it. Yeah.
I agree with you, but this is what I'm saying. I agree with you. I think that that's the way that you do it. I mean, even Ohio State last year, Will Howard, it's a transfer quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. But what I'm saying is this. If you truly believe in that, as a coaching staff, obviously you have to coach that way. But as a fan base, you also have to understand that going on the road to Oklahoma is going to be a piece of the developmental process of Bryce Underwood. And if they don't come out and throw the ball 40 times, if they don't come out and throw the ball 35 times, it might be because it's a delicate process as far as quarterbacking is concerned. That kid goes out there and throws 4 picks against a really veteran Brent Venables defense. Now you have to worry about how that's going to weigh on his mentality. So I think, to your point, you're right. But we have to have that idea in our head that it doesn't matter how generational these guys are, they need reps.
Yeah. And
the tamper line comes quickly too. I mean, for Bryce Underwood, as soon as he doesn't look great, there's another coach that's another offensive coordinator that's reaching out through different channels, and saying, hey, in our offense, you would look amazing. We'll let you throw it down the field. We'll let you run the plays you want to, you know what I mean? Like, it can go that way too, sideways real quick.
Michigan only lets go of that guy if they lose faith in him. Because they have the world's richest man. Like, that is his toy. You know what I mean? Like, that's the dude that his wife got him Bryce Underwood as a gift, which is, weird for all the dynamic. I see. Yeah, that's right, man. That's right.
You went to the well again.
It was kind of weird, but that's kind of what happened. She bought him the guy.
Joel, that's a third. This is Blue Sky.
She bought
Joel.
him the guy that he really wanted. He's like, I want that.
Put so much schism into the show today.
I'd love to have that boy up here at University of Michigan.
Oh, my boy! I'd
love to have that boy up here.
There's so much
University of Michigan.
In the show. I don't know what's going on, Blue Sky Joel.
And so, if you. They're not going to lose that guy if they don't want to. They got the money to keep him there.
He's going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
and there'll be some game in the second half of the season where he goes nuts and he'll be fine.
I wouldn't even give him up for John Mateer. You know what I mean? That's how much I believe in him. So yeah, man.
I'm not even saying him. I'm saying him giving up on Michigan, where he looks at his coach and says, "This isn't the guy. I'm going to go somewhere else that's going to take care of me." You know what I mean? That's his two sides of the coin when it comes to the transfer portal. Van is pump faking at us right now. Let's hit us with the first fact here. Total viewing of college football is up 25% across all networks through week 2, and that leads us perfectly into our overreaction of the week, because there's a lot of people upset about the AP Top 25. Danny Cannell is the one who gives us the overreaction. He tweeted this: the AP Top 25 is a joke. The fact that we use them to create narratives and perceptions around certain teams or conferences is ridiculous. Van, are you as upset about the AP Top 25 as many people are online right now?
I wasn't. Then I heard the lady from the AP Top 25.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Haley Sawyer seems like a very nice lady.
Haley Sawyer.
Yes.
She seems like a very nice lady, but
she's in the crossfires.
It's very difficult, guys, if you love college football, to listen to her talk and not get pissed off.
You don't know her process.
It's okay. It's just
the
difficult,
process
right?
I did not watch.
So I know everybody has heard this, but I've witnessed this. Back in the day, we all went to it was a Best Buy, and the general manager at Best Buy was a guy named Arlen. Arlen Bethea was his name, and he had played college football at Wofford. And so went
Terriers.
So we went to Buffalo Wild Wings after a shift at Best Buy one time. There was a new Buffalo Wild Wings. So Arlen was like, I'm going to take you guys out to Buffalo Wild Wings. You guys did so good. So we have to, in Baton Rouge, we're like, God damn, what is Buffalo Wild Wings? Buffalo Wild Wings is in town. We got to go check it out. So we all go over there. And we go over there, and I never forget this game. It was a crazy physical game. It was the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is like 2003, 2002 or whatever. So it's a hard-hitting, really, really physical game, and we're all enjoying it. And we get into a conversation, Arlen and I, about who the best NFL running back of all time is. I'm a Barry Sanders guy. He was an Emmitt Smith guy. He said Barry Sanders was better as a pure runner, but Emmitt Smith, you're talking about blocking, you're talking about stiff arming, you're talking about all the things that make up the position. He was a better overall running back than Barry Sanders was, all of that stuff. So we're having a conversation. And there's a girl there, Mandy, she jumps in the conversation. She goes, I've always just loved Barry Sanders more than Emmitt Smith. It's just more aesthetic. And there was one guy that worked with us from the warehouse and went, who was Barry Sanders' quarterback? Who was he? And she's like, what? She's like, yeah, you women, y'all don't be knowing nothing about sports. Tell me his whole O-line if you know about Barry Sanders, if you want to. So what I'm saying is that
fans on Truth Media now.
What I'm saying is, listen, there's been this long-held thing that women in some kind of way had to qualify to talk about sports, and it's such bullshit, and it has to do with guys feeling like this is arcade and we're watching sports and stuff like that.
Why did you follow up with race with gender? What you accuse me? What is
fire with fire?
Yeah, what
Blue
you doing?
Sky Lathan. Okay, no, actually, this is not Blue Sky Lathan. Okay. This is fucking This is Fox News
Truth
Lathan
Social.
right here.
You okay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, really? Okay.
So Truth Social Lathan. So when I watched that video, the first thing that I thought was, and I'm gonna be real with you, is how much damage is this lady, not of her own doing, doing to the idea of the lady, the woman in sports who knows her shit, who's a fan, even the ones who don't know their shit. It's for everybody. It's for everyone. And I just saw all of my friends back home that went, see, this is what the deal is. This
You
is
went
the
right back
fucking
to
problem.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
I was right back to Buffalo Wild Wings because I remember I looked at him. I'm not going to say his name because he's a good guy, got a family, the whole thing. I still know him. I looked at him, I was like, hey, man, don't do that to her, brother. We talking about football here, bro. And I just saw this when it was happening because so many people, the AP poll is worth so much to so many people, and that she basically made it seem like she votes based upon the mascot that she likes the most. And that's the type of shit that really fucks the entire college football culture up to me.
Was the quarterback Eric Kramer?
It was he played for a couple. Because Eric Kramer, I think Scott Mitchell was there for a second.
Mitchell.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there was a couple different quarterbacks with Barry, but that's not what we was talking about. Let Mandy have her fucking opinion and not get her face like that. She liked Barry Sanders, but I'm saying this is the type of shit that feeds into that.
This is it made me think about, as an old journalism newspaper guy, it just made me think about the idea that we ask journalists to do so much more than they're qualified to do or than they should have to do.
Especially beat reporters, right, Joe? Like she's a USC football beat reporter. She's not watching national games, but she does have a vote because of it, right?
I didn't have to do stuff like that when I was a young journalist. You know, I didn't have to upload a video, have a social media presence, try to keep up with my poll vote, cover the team, do all this stuff. And it also made me think about the fact that there's just not another layer of management like there used to be. Like, she would have had a direct reporting editor. I'm sure she said somebody she reports to, but there were more people that you run it by and say, hey man, I'm going to do this video. Can you take a look at it real quick before I do it? And they probably would say, oh yeah, like, let's not do that. Or let's hone your message here. But now you've got a young reporter person that has all this stuff and they're just going straight to market. You know what I mean? Like, just direct to market, talking to people, and not everybody should have to do that. And so that's what I actually thought of when I saw it. You know, the poll.
It's always good to have an editor, especially like an editor that can look at your, top 25 and say, hey, USF beat Florida, right? And then she might be like, oh, okay, I'll put them ahead of Florida. You know what I mean? That was what she was getting grilled for, the fact that she put Florida ahead of USF after the loss. But again, you could argue, hey, these are my power rankings, right?
Well, what did her process say? Yeah, what did the
we're still trying to find the process.
Okay.
Sometimes you can't trust the process. That's
what do you guys think about the
AP?
What do you guys think about this poll? I mean,
it's great, man.
That's the real question. What do you think about the poll? I mean, her votes notwithstanding, Ohio State's at 1, Penn State's at 2, LSU at 3, Oregon, Miami, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Illinois, Florida State. Like, what do you think about this poll? Florida State up to number 10 in the poll from 2 performances, 2 dominant performances. Like, the question is there anything that you see on this poll right now that bothers you in a real way?
I think South Florida, I would bump up a little bit. I mean, 18, I understand. It just kind of categorically, it just works out where the brand obviously does more than the football itself. So it's like, okay, South Florida, they'll be happy at number 18. I think that's sort of the pushback. They have 2 ranked wins. They've looked really good. They win in the swamp. I would personally put Florida State ahead of Illinois just based on what I've seen of those 2 teams. But again, this is an aggregate. The problem with it's an aggregation of votes, and that's why you get a poll that is confusing to people, and that's why people get upset.
Well, also, I mean, I probably would have Iowa State, Oklahoma, and South Florida over Clemson. Like, what has Clemson shown this year that makes you think that they should be number 12 over Oklahoma, who just beat Michigan, right? Like, I don't like they're still riding off the fumes of losing at home to LSU, who nobody, you know what I mean? Like, so that doesn't make any sense to me. And yeah,
they're riding off the fumes of last year.
Yeah, they've done nothing this year that shows that they need to be that high. Certainly over South Florida. What else would South Florida have to do to be over Clemson at this point? Like, I don't understand. Like, they beat Boise State and they won at Florida. What has Clemson done that merits them being over them? It doesn't make any sense.
South Florida, I think, is a 17-point dog. at
17
Miami.
and a half, yeah.
17 and a half dog at Miami this Saturday, right? 17 and a half point dog. Okay. Chances are they won't win that game. But if they do, guys, South Florida would have to be one of the top 5 teams in the entire country, if not the number 1 team.
And they have been before, you know what I mean? It's not like there's
Like,
a ceiling on the program. They've been number 2 before, right?
It would be very hard to put them at that, but the jump from 18, if they were to win this game as a 17-point dog, however that would have to happen, it doesn't seem likely in any type of way that there will be enough things that go right for them to have that happen. The talent gap between them and Miami, at least on paper, seems to be so wide. But if it did happen, at that point, they'd have to be a top 5 team in the country.
I think they would almost certainly be, because Miami's going to drop out of the top 5 if they lose that game. They're going to go over Texas, and they're going to go over Notre Dame, because they would have done something that Notre Dame didn't do, beat Miami at Miami, right? So I would think that they would at least in a minimum 6, but they would have a pretty much an airtight argument for being top 5, and I would probably vote the number 1 just based on resume alone.
Also, Penn State, I mean, talk about a team that's been able to kind of hide under the radar in the top 5. I mean, they've played absolutely nobody. They have not looked good at all, and they play Villanova this weekend. So, I mean, they're just kind of hiding.
Battle for Pennsylvania.
Look, and there was one thing that she did say when she was talking about it that's interesting. These rankings are what happens on the field is a part of the calculus of these rankings. Us as fans, we realize that there are preseason rankings. We know what the blue chip ratios and all of that stuff is. But then the games start, and we go, okay, well, this happened this way, this happened this way. I learned this lesson when Florida State, we were talking about this before, when Florida State beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame and won the national championship over Notre Dame. This is back in the
93?
Warwick Dunn, Charlie Ward era. Because Notre Dame then went out and lost to Boston College. And in that situation, the loss meant more than the win, the head-to-head. So it's interesting to see what they base all of this stuff on, because for us, we just want it to be based on kind of what happens on the field. But I think there are a lot of voters who go, it doesn't matter what happens on the field. There's just no way South Florida could be better than Penn State. You got to look at the roster.
No, they absolutely do that. Fair. They absolutely do that.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things where these writers, again, are covering a beat, which is one team, and the expectation that they're going to be able to watch all these other games and all these other teams and have an informed opinion on all of it, it kind of is in a tough spot. And now you got like the ball knowers, right? The guys that are out there that are like, I know ball, I should have an AP vote. You don't want an AP vote, I promise you. Does that
even seem fun? To like on a Sunday morning, a Saturday night, be like, man, I got to
wait
put my
till
top
you're doing an
25
apology
together.
video on Twitter, and then you'll want to give up your vote real quick.
The question is, like, do they give you the vote, but do they take it away? Because like, what if they gave me an AP vote and I voted like Southern number 1, Southern, Grambling, Jackson State, Pine Bluff, all of those teams in the top 5. I know those teams aren't even
They probably have like a demerit system,
We need
probably like 10 demerits, they take it away.
We need to get Ralph Russo on. Ralph Russo was the guy that did the poll for so long at the AP. Shout out, Ralph. Now he's over at the Athletic. We have to ask him if he's ever been able to pull somebody off the poll. It's like, hey, man, stop that shit.
You wilding.
That's enough.
I put Nickel State. This all the Tulane is all of these. Tulane is actually good.
Hey, Tulane has an argument, and they beat Duke this weekend to put them in the top 25. You know what I mean? That's fascinating. We'll keep up with the AP poll, but I thought the overreaction was hilarious. A lot of people, it's easy to grandstand and throw rocks from outside of the house, and these poor AP writers taking a beating. As always.
Settle down, Danny.
Yeah, Danny, calm down. Ring Your Tailgate is brought to you by FanDuel. Ready to fire up your Saturdays? FanDuel's got a boost you don't want to miss. It's called Boostin' with the Boys, and it's giving everyone a college football profit boost every single week. This week, I'm fading the rest of the experts. I think I'm going to go with Texas A&M at Notre Dame, and that's good news for the Fighting Irish. And here's how it works. Each week, we're giving everyone a profit boost to use on college football. No opt-in gymnastics, no invite-only nonsense. Everyone gets the boost. We're talking real games, real teams, real Saturdays with an extra payout on the line. It's easy, it's fun, and it's only on FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/tailgate to download the app. Check out the Boostin' with the Boys offer and get in on all the action. Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Let's do one more fun thing before we get to the preview. Start, bench, cut. I'll go to you first here, Joel. Belichick, Michael Vick, DeSean Jackson all got their first college win this weekend. If you had to rank them, start, bench, cut, which one meant the most to you? How do you go?
Start DeSean Jackson.
Okay, nice.
Delaware State has been really impressive in its first couple games, and they beat Albany this past week. So that's DeSean Jackson's first win as a head coach. Man, Albany was in the FCS semifinals 2 years ago. Like, and I don't think people understand like how bad or how low Delaware State is. Like, they'd won 2 of their past 23 games. They haven't had a winning season since 2012. Okay. And they don't, like, this is a school, it's a HBCU. There's not a lot of resources. It's one of the it brings in some of the least amount of revenues of Division I schools in this country. So for DeSean to have done what he did, and they even played pretty good the first week against Delaware, which is now an FBS school for people who don't know. They're in Conference USA. Right. So I'm like, man, it's hard to do better than that, man. Like, Delaware State, that's what he seems to be trying to pull off there. And I was sort of skeptical. I went to the MEAC Media Day about a month ago and talked to him there. And I'm just like, man, good luck to you, brother. But I mean, he's actually shown out. Bench, Michael Vick, bro. I mean, they beat Virginia State. That's a D2 program, and they barely beat them.
Shout out to Ben Wallace, though, Virginia State legend.
Yeah, man, dog. Tate knows something about everything, man. You get to the end of the sentence, and whatever it is, he's got the real
Virginia State.
I thought he went to Virginia Union.
Is that Charles Oakley you thinking of?
Maybe I got him mixed up. Fact check me.
I'm looking it up right now. We need.
If you mix up, Tate, I gotta be honest with you. If you mix up Charles Oakley,
not the players themselves. I'm talking about the colleges. Virginia State, Virginia Union.
Oakley went to Virginia Union. So
Oakley went to Virginia Union,
and Ben Wallace went to Virginia State.
Now we're looking to Ben Wallace. Okay, hold on.
Virginia State.
We're looking it up. We're doing it live.
I bet a beer on this.
I'm on the clock right now.
I'm gonna get it. Here we go. Oh man, Virginia Union, man. They both are a legacy Virginia Union guys.
Damn.
Man, who are you thinking of that went to Virginia State?
I thought he did go to Virginia State. I just I mixed it up.
Sorry, man. Cuyahoga, whatever it's called, community college for 2 years, and then Virginia Union after that. Oh man. That's unfortunate, bro. But you tried, though, and I appreciate
it. It felt good. Hey, I shot from the hip.
You did okay.
It matters.
You were close. You were close.
I cut Belichick. I start Vick, and I put Jackson on the bench.
Okay.
I'm one of those Vick niggas, man.
Yeah. Okay.
I am, bro.
At Rutgers this weekend, by the way.
He still got waves, man. He's just real cool. He carries himself.
People don't understand the Vick thing, I don't think, bro. So I saw this tweet, and the tweet said, Michael Vick has gotten more from being a mediocre quarterback than anybody in the history of sports. Okay, first of all, Michael Vick was not a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah, hater.
That's
a hate. Major hate.
A little too much.
Hate, bro. That's hate. You can't say that. But in a lot of ways, Vick is the Iverson of football.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm one of those Vick guys, bro. Vick was crazy. I will be on the side of Vick for the rest of my life. It just Michael Vick, watching him at
What
Virginia
if they said he was fighting dogs again? Would you still?
Y'all know how much I love dogs, man.
Yeah.
But even that,
that's how much you love him.
Even that,
that's just another defense that he was able to run around because they had him boxed in. But then all of a sudden, his escapability, he got out of the bad news. He got out of there. You know,
he found Algie Crumpler for a touchdown.
Yeah, he found Algie. He got out of there, and then I remember the Vick game. The Eagles, I think it was versus the Redskins that they were playing.
Oh, yeah.
That was Vick to DeSean Jackson.
Yeah, those are our guys. Two head coaches.
Man, it's about Vick. I am in for the success of Vick. And I don't even call him Michael. I just say Vick, man. It's Vick. So I don't know why, but when I think about super athletes of my childhood who have, not my childhood, I was in my 20s, of my youth that I am connected to, that I want to see succeed, just because people didn't want it to work at every turn. He is one of them. So I am desperately hoping that Coach Vick becomes the guy at his program. Like, for real, man.
Yeah, that 7 is strong. I mean, everybody was trying to wear 7 after Mike Vick was at Virginia Tech. And then obviously with the Falcons, like I remember those games, Julius Pepper spying Mike Vick. I mean, that was just electric. Great times. Tough beat for Bill Belichick, by the way.
I was going to say, what are you going to do
with both you guys?
What are you going to do? I mean, you part of Big Carolina, so what are you going to do? There's no way. You going to go back and talk to them people?
I'll start Belichick, to be fair. You know, shout out to Jordan holding the door for the team. You know, bending the knee for everybody, making sure everybody gets in the locker room.
Bending the knee?
What? What are you doing, man?
Figuratively.
Okay. All right.
Calm down.
That's just for Belichick. The Bill
shout
alone,
out to Belichick. But, you know, Mike Vick, you know, I'll bench. Even though I want to start Mike Vick, honestly. I was in a fantasy league with him a few years ago. He's a legend. So shout out to Mike.
You were in a fantasy league with Vick?
Yeah, I won that fantasy league.
Wait, like, oh, really? Hold on.
Ray Lewis was in it. Yeah, it was a ridiculous league that I somehow got
Wait,
got
hold
thrown
on. Who
into.
else was in it?
You're in a league with a bunch of killers. It's a killer league.
Chill.
Ray Lewis, man, I got to give Ray Lewis a lot of props. Hold on for a second. I got to say this about Ray Lewis. Real quick, man. Hold on. I got to say this about Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis went on the Patrick Bet David podcast, right? I don't know if you guys saw this. Patrick Bet David.
We're gonna take a break after this. Yeah.
He went on the podcast and he was talking about how disappointed he was in Shannon Sharp.
Yeah,
okay?
It's
like, man, I can't believe Shannon Sharp is acting this way. Ray Lewis, if you don't shut the fuck up.
He said he chose fame over friendship.
Ray Lewis, you cannot in any way, shape, or form. Ray, we've supported you through worse, Ray.
I mean,
Ray, it's a whole group of athletes that I'm not going to take that I'm better holding it down shit from. And you were one of them, Ray. Ray, you know what I can ask you, Ray? To just fuck your whole shit up. Ray, what happened? I could just ask you that. I just can't believe the moxie on some of these guys to sit there. I'm not about to say that Shannon Sharp has been a saint these last couple of years, because obviously he has not. But if I'm Shannon Sharp and he handled it, if I'm Shannon Sharp, I'd be like, not you, dog. You can't talk to me like this. I know you, dog. All right? Stop. What the fuck is Ray Lewis thinking?
One of the few press conference moments I remember in my life is Shannon Sharp walking up behind Ray Lewis at Super Bowl Media Day and like giving an impassioned defense of him in front of the media.
You can't talk about me after that.
That's the crazy thing, yo,
bruh. I watched that and I felt, bruh, you can't, not you, bruh. Not you, bro.
Shannon handled it so much with so much more like dignity than I would have expected, because I think I would have been really mad. Like he just talking, country forwards, like, oh well, the day is long and whatever, that kind of stuff. And I've just been like, what's your problem, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? At least that. Like, I'm just like, dog, what the fuck?
He probably didn't know what to say. He probably thought it was AI at first, because when I was first watching it,
it did look kind of weird.
Yeah, because when I was watching it, I was like, Kalika goes like, what are you looking at? I'm like, somebody do something fucking outrageous. This guy here, he must have had too many Red Bulls, man. He on that Four Loko.
I think he was fresh out of church. That's what it felt like. It felt like he was moved by the Spirit.
The blues. Yeah, man. Ray, what happened? How's that? Just answer that question.
You ain't seen too many people in the world try to poke Ray Lewis, man. You know what I'm saying, Van? If Ray Lewis does happen to see this, I mean, we just gotta get to know each other. I'm not ready to fight for you just quite yet. So Ray,
don't worry, I got the fantasy league group chat. I'll send a message out. I'll make sure we're all good there. I'll make sure.
No, I'm not worried about that. I mean, it's like, well, actually, maybe I should be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, what are you doing?
But look, I'm not in any way criticizing. I'm not in it. First of all, fuck that shit. I said what I said. Ray, you can't get on the high horse. Your horse is low. Okay? I like to keep my horse low as well. I'm a low horse motherfucker. I like to keep my horse low and shoot from the low up because I can't be on the high. I worked at TMZ. Before I opened this computer up, it was 53 tabs on there. I don't have to tell you guys what was on the tabs. I can't shoot from the high horse. And Ray Lewis, you can't get on the high horse, brother. You can't. You can't get on the high horse, man. It's over. The horse is low.
And what do we know about football? Low man wins. You know what I mean?
Low man wins. Dog, Tate always, man.
A host.
That's what it is. Low man wins. And let's look forward to this weekend because we got some football to talk about. Just a great way to transition into week 3. We got some great games in week 3. We got, Georgia, Tennessee, A&M, Notre Dame, USF, Miami, our Bulls trying to keep the hot streak going. Wisconsin, Alabama. Alabama look like they're back. Let's start here, Joel. Your game, your big game of the week. I just gave you 4 big ones. Is there one outside of that, or is there one game of those big 4 that you like to watch and you're excited to watch this weekend?
Well, I mean, I definitely want to see the USF Miami game. Like, I mean, I'm just personally interested in that. Also, because USF is good is good money, man. They don't have much else to prove. They've already got 2 wins over ranked teams. For all intents and purposes, they're leading the race for the Group of 5 play-in. And I think that'll allow them to play a little loose. Miami is going to have to get back up for another game. I mean, you could see, even though USF is coming off that win over Florida, you could easily see them get caught looking. And I mean, one thing we know about the Canes is that they're good, but they're also sort of goofy. Like, they'll do some shit where they'll lose a game they're not supposed to. A Mario will have some sort of time management issue or whatever, or put the game.
I mean, he kind of did against Notre Dame. I mean, that kick that they made was a miracle. It
was unreal that he was willing to put that game on that kid's leg, So anything can happen. But I think that would probably be the one that I'm most looking at. But also, like, Vandy of South Carolina, low-key kind of interesting. Diego Pavia, one of the most interesting men in the history of college football. On his resume, he helped New Mexico State beat Auburn, which is a crazy thing, just a crazy thing to say in football. Last year, he led Vandy to a win over Alabama, right? That's just something that does not happen. And so they go out to Virginia Tech last week, and they were down 20-10 at halftime. They won that game 44-20. Virginia did not score. They only had 21 yards of offense in the second half. If South Carolina is who all these other people say they are, they'll win this game. But don't sleep on Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia, man. They're kind of
Vanderbilt, by the way, they cleaned up the locker room after that Virginia Tech win. Like, they had the custodian services of Virginia Tech's Twitter account, like, send out a thank you to Vanderbilt football. I had never seen that before in my life. So give a shout out to Vanderbilt. They're taking care of the details. You know what I mean? I love to see that. Van, of those 4 games, does one stick out to you?
Georgia, Tennessee. Georgia, Tennessee is going to be a prove-it game, and one of the best types of games in college football to me. It is a game where 2 teams that have showed us different things to where we're going to be able to see on the field who's real and who's not. To me, perfect matchup of this. You have a Tennessee team that with Aguilar is running the ball well, is throwing the ball well, but people are still having questions. And then you have Georgia, a team that, because they haven't been in the spotlight yet this season, hasn't really had a lot of people looking into them and asking questions about how dominant Georgia is or how reinvigorated the program is after a year where they weren't the Georgia that we are used to seeing, especially for the last 5, 6 seasons, 7, 8 seasons, depending on how you look at it. A battle of some really good stuff. A Tennessee running game that is always potent against a really good Georgia front. You're going to also see the quarterbacking at Georgia. Gunnar Stockton, who, if you guys look at it, did you see how many times Gunnar Stockton threw the ball against Austin P? Did you see how many times he threw the ball?
How many times?
I think it was like 30 or 35 pass attempts against Austin P, and they scored 28 points.
Yeah, it was not a very, I didn't get a chance to see the game, but statistically, it did not look like what you would expect Georgia versus Austin P to look like.
Right. So there were extenuating circumstances in the game. There was a weather delay. There was all kinds of, that throws people off. You got to get back up and all of that kind of stuff. So maybe they were throwing the ball that much to kind of work the kinks out a little bit. But what we know from Georgia is that the passing game has been something that people have, particularly the passing game from QB to wideout, is one of the things that people have been asking about for the last couple of seasons for them. So they're going to get the opportunity on the road at Neyland to prove that
very tough place to play, by the way. Like Tennessee wins at home. Yeah.
So a very tough place to play to prove that they are one of the teams that we should be paying attention to as a playoff and national championship contender. It's a big game in the SEC. It's a huge game nationally. And I want to see which team gets to answer the most questions on Saturday.
Man, Josh Heupel never beaten Georgia, 0-4 against them. And he averages 40 a game versus everybody. Like, that's with Tennessee. And 14 versus Kirby Smart in Georgia. So they've not, they've not really shown up when that game is there. And I'll be, Joey Aguilar, cool it. His family, his father, oh man, thanks to Nico. We appreciate, what Nico did for us. Just, cool your jets, bro. It's a long season. You have not, now you get to play against Georgia. If you can still pop your shit after that game, amazing. But
he said, I think it's clear who won the trade, talking about Nico and Joey. Obviously, Joey came in the spring, you know what I mean? Save that for a little bit later.
How do we feel overall about dads talking shit, college football dads talking shit?
If you keep it in the stands, like you keep it like off air, I'm okay with it. But when you go on the record and you put out a release statement, I feel like that jumps the shark. You know what I mean?
I feel like if the Lord blesses me and my son Desmond becomes a good football player and people, come to, I'd be like, oh, I'm not doing interviews.
Don't ask me shit.
Don't ask me, did he say that I could talk? That's what my relationship would be. I'd just be like, there's no need for you to quote me. Like,
I would compliment the other team, the other quarterback, the other coach. You know what I mean?
I'm proud of my son. I hope he does well, blah, blah. But like, why are we getting into what's going on with Nico? That doesn't make any sense.
Also, your kid kind of has to back up what you say. We saw it with, Lonzo having to do that with LeVar a bunch, where it's just like, I didn't say that, but my dad did, so now I got to go.
When you can't whoop your dad, when you can't whoop your dad, that's kind of what happens,
I blame myself for that to a degree.
What, did you make LeVar Ball a thing?
You emboldened him.
Well, I kind of, so I was on YouTube one day. This is a true story. I was on YouTube one day and I saw this video on YouTube. And the video said, Lonzo Ball, a 6'5" Steph Curry would bounce. I was like, cool. And there was this guy named Alan, the Big Baller Brand guy that ended up getting in trouble with them. Alan,
redacted.
Whatever. The Big Baller, he ran Big Baller Brand, and they ended up going their separate ways, and they accused him of stealing all kinds of money. Anyway.
Alan Foster.
He was doing promo and press for them, so he had asked me to do an interview with LeVar Ball on TMZ Sports. I remember, man, LaMelo walks out before he was still in high school. He had just scored all kinds. He scored like 92 points in a game or something like that. So I asked LeVar Ball, I was like, yo, do you think that your son could be as good as Steph Curry? I saw this video that was comparing your son to Steph Curry. Do you think your son could be as good as Steph Curry? And LeVar Ball goes, hell no. Like, oh, shit. And then he goes, my son going to be better than Steph Curry. And then that's when it started. That's when it started. And it was just because I was trying to get a headline. See?
Man.
See?
That's a good headline.
I was trying.
And then LeVar took that, and he was going to beat MJ one-on-one.
We need people like Van in the world, because I wouldn't even think to ask that question, because I'd be like, that's crazy. Like, I'm not going to put, I'll just be like, that's just something I wouldn't do, because you wouldn't even expect to get a response like that.
Nah, that's
just. How did you know that? We can talk about. How did you know to ask that question?
I knew to ask it because when I was at TMZ, I never went into an interview ever ever without a headline in mind, ever. So I never went into an interview without a headline in mind. So when I was sitting down talking to him, I was thinking either, no, my son can't be as good as Steph Curry, pump the brakes, my son can't be as good as Steph Curry, or my son will be as good as Steph Curry. But he didn't give me either one of those. He gave me, my son will be better than Steph Curry. I walked out of there like I was the man.
That's some journalism game for the kids
Little
listening,
bit,
man.
little
That
bit.
is. That's a good way. I didn't think about that. Oh,
Yeah, there you go, especially these days. And also, what did LeVar teach us? Speak it into existence. And let's talk about something that I'm trying to speak into existence. Texas A&M at Notre Dame. I think this is A&M's coming out party. I think that A&M lets the rest of college football know
Wow.
that they're for real. And Notre Dame, this is a quote-unquote must-win game for Notre Dame. But I think this is a KC Concepcion game, obviously at NC State. The ACC has turned into the minor leagues of the SEC. And the Big Ten at this point, it's like, look at the star players. Star Thomas for Tennessee, the running back. You mentioned their running game from Duke last year. KC Concepcion from NC State. I've watched both these guys quite a bit. They're really good players. I think Concepcion's going to have a big game. I think Mike Elko is a really good coach. That's a little bit under the radar right now. So speaking it into existence, I think Texas A&M is going to have a big week this week.
If Texas A&M beats Notre Dame, they're going to freak out in South Bend. They cannot start 0-2, Tate.
That's what I'm saying. The headline is Notre Dame doesn't make the playoffs, right? Well, I guess the thing is, does 10-2 Notre Dame make a playoff? You know what? Right now,
with those
they won't
two
face
losses,
another
maybe.
team currently ranked. There's not another team on their schedule that's ranked right now.
With those two, I don't know, man. That would be, they need as many quality victories as they can get. And to have lost to both of those teams back-to-back to start the season would be a disaster. Marcus Freeman cannot lose that football game.
Marcus Freeman, they'll fire your black ass.
Sisms, we back to it.
They will. I'm just saying, they will.
He lost in Northern Illinois last season, got a pep talk from Thomas Hammock, and then the whole season changed and the narrative flipped, and he goes to the national championship game. So he has bounced back before. But I don't know. I really like this Texas A&M team, and I feel like they're not talked about enough, and everyone's kind of saying, well, Notre Dame can't start 0-2, so we have to expect them to win this game. And I'm just saying, watch out for Texas A&M. So
I admit,
should be a good one.
I would love to see if Marcel Reed can pass this year. That's what I need to know first. If Marcel Reed can pass, okay, cool. But if he can't pass, then I don't think we're talking about anything.
Yeah, Marcel Reed and his ability to affect the Notre Dame defense, which on the backside, the Notre Dame defense is phenomenal. The secondary is amazing. His ability to make some reads, and also Mike Denbrock, the OC. Damn, that hurts to say Mike Denbrock, the OC of Notre Dame, when he could have been calling plays for us, but whatever. Mike Denbrock, the OC of Notre Dame, how creative he uses Marcel Reed's ability to, move the pocket, throw in the rollouts, and really scheme up some openings against a really good Notre Dame secondary. That's going to tell the tale of how, they can move the ball down there as well.
Yeah, other matchups on the board,
there,
Florida, LSU. Van, I turn to you. This is obviously a little bit of a redemption game potentially for Brian Kelly, but he was trying to give, Billy Napier all the love, saying he likes the way he runs his program. It does feel like he's trying to make sure to keep it all positive. Are you concerned? What's your concern level if we do that from 1 to 10 going into this game?
8.
All
My
right.
concern level's an 8, yeah.
Okay.
As an LSU fan, this is the game that Brian Kelly has lost. This is the game he's lost. He's lost this game. He's lost the game where LSU has had the big victory. Obviously, if you guys watched the Louisiana Tech game and you came away from that, 2 things happened. Number one, LSU got dinged up a little bit. You saw both Braylon Moore, who now they're saying could play on Saturday, the starting center for LSU, probable. He might play. He practiced. And Tre'Davious Green both go out with injuries. And that just changes the LSU offense a little bit, particularly because the replacement for Braylon Moore is DJ Chester, a guy who struggles at center. I'm sure he's a great kid. I'm sure he's trying his best. Struggles at center. We're going to have to run the ball. For the entire season, we're going to have to run the ball in this game. And if we can't run the ball, and you're putting it all on us, and you're asking for mistakes to be made. But all of that's to the side. This game reminds me of Texas A&M a couple of years ago. It reminds me of Florida last year. It reminds me of games that LSU should win under Brian Kelly that they somehow find a way to lose. Brian Kelly needs to win this game. He needs to win this football game. He's going out there against a team that last week looked listless, undisciplined, and play with no fire or emotion. Will they be up to play against LSU and save their season? Yes, you're going to get their best shot at night in Tiger Stadium. Not only does LSU need to win, LSU needs to answer all the questions any doubters and haters have about the program right now.
This is
it done.
Van is ridiculous, man. Y'all they beat Clemson at Clemson.
You turned it into Matt Rule right in front of our very eyes.
They got a little bored. They played with their food against Louisiana Tech, and now Brian Kelly's got a must-win game. See how y'all act, man.
You understand?
You see how y'all act?
You understand?
I mean, that's just
you don't get it.
Man, Brian Kelly.
You don't get it. You understand? Okay,
I mean, damn.
You don't get it.
You weren't in the Buffalo Wild Wings. You don't get it.
Clemson was just it was just a week and a half ago.
It was a week and a half ago, and then they went out.
And a half ago.
And they went out and were down 16-0 to Troy. It took it away. You don't get it. You don't get what I'm trying to say.
Things move quickly in college
understand.
football. Some other notable games we want to highlight here. Clemson at Georgia Tech. That'll be a fascinating game. Haynes King trying to get healthy for that game. We got NC State Wake Forest on Thursday. Colorado Houston on Friday. Pitt West Virginia, the backyard brawl. A little bit less luster there now that they lost Ohio, but again, still will be a fun game. Duke at Tulane, the Darian Mensah game, a little redemption game for him to go back against a really good team with Summerall. Arkansas, Ole Miss, Minnesota, Cal, Kansas State, Arizona, New Mexico, UCLA. Of that sort of slew of games, Joel, which one, outside of the ones we've already discussed, really stands out to you?
I mean, I guess if I have to pick, I probably would take Colorado at Houston. Only because, Prime went with his third-string quarterback, man.
Then he called out the media and said that they report lies. So we don't really know where we stand right now.
Okay, we'll see. All right. I mean, he can play that game if he'd like. I mean, people really, DeSean is really lucky that Shedeur and Shiloh and Travis are gone, because a lot more people would be running that clip about him talking about timeouts if they were all back there and he had that sort of thing. Like, it's been kind of a weird start to the year for him, but I would like to see what they got. And Houston is they've got a really good young program there. So I mean, last year I think, what did Houston beat? They beat BYU, or they beat somebody. Well, anyway, Houston is a tough team. It's on a Friday night. I mean, you could easily see Prime losing that game. So yeah, that's probably the thing that I'd be looking at. And also that New Mexico UCLA game, Deshaun Foster, they will fire your black ass. They will fire your black ass, man. You better win that. You better win that game.
Especially with the $2 million quarterback, right? Nico.
I mean, his buyout is like popcorn. It's like popcorn and Diet Coke, man. There's nothing. I mean, although UCLA is kind of a broke ass school and a broke ass system, but they'll find the money to get rid of him for that. They can't afford to keep looking like this.
They found the money to get out of that Under Armour deal and become a Jordan Brand school. So when they really want to find a way, they'll find a way. That's what you learn in big-time college athletics. Van, one of those games that stands out to you, another matchup. He's got the football back.
Obviously, Florida versus LSU is the matchup for what I
can't think of anything else.
No, it's not true. Oregon versus Northwestern.
Okay, should be big noon kickoff.
That should be another bludgeoning, right? However, I'm just interested to see the development of Oregon and how they are looking. Right now, granted, hadn't been tested a lot of the questions about Oregon don't seem to be questions. People wondered about the wide receiving core. The 5-star freshman, DeCorian Moore, looks like he is fantastic, right? Dante Moore, the quarterback, is throwing good balls, making decisive plays. They are not in the thick of it yet. They are not. But when you watch Oregon, it seems as if the early season schedule that they have is lending itself to late season success for them as they work out some of the questions and they answer some of the questions that they might even have about themselves. So I'm always going to watch them when they're on, because they might be the sleeping giant, nationally in college football this year.
Yeah, Dan Lanning, what an incredible speech before he goes out and destroys Mike Gundy. That gets leaked out, and I guess it wasn't leaked. They put it out on purpose to let people know what he said before that game, but he was like, they basically put gasoline on a fire, and then they were ready to absolutely destroy them. So Dan Lanning does a good job with that. Matt Rule also had his speech come out that I think he said was leaked, but it felt like it was definitely a similar thing. They just wanted to get those speeches out. Joe, what do you think about that? Like halftime locker room speeches, do you think they should be private or, do you care that it gets leaked out to the public? Kirby Smart had a good one where it was actually leaked.
The Kirby Smart one, I think, and if somebody had said it was before the game against TCU in the national championship game, and I sort of believed it, but it was actually against Florida from earlier that year. And yeah, I mean, or when Nick Saban gets after somebody, like, I mean, a halftime speech can really pump your shit up. I mean, Kirby Smart is so intense, and I remember before that night, before TCU, because I kind of fooled myself into thinking, I was like, man, we hit a couple big plays of Quentin Johnston, Max Duggan gets rolling, maybe we might be able to beat Georgia. And then they interviewed Kirby Smart on the sideline right before the game, and I'll never forget, they're like, Kirby, what do you think the big factors of the game tonight are going to be? And he's paused, he's like, aggression. And I was like, oh, man, we going to get fucked up, man. We going to get hurt. And that's what he's like. So, like, Kirby has that kind of thing. Matt Rule, though, man, it's kind of,
Dan Lanning, I believed. Matt Rule, there's a little bit of, wait a second. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like, you got to kind of try, like, as a coach. Like, you don't, 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds, they will fall for that kind of shit. That rah-rah stuff actually works. The reason coaches do it over and over again and why it's the cliche and a stereotype is because that stuff sometimes works.
Also, Kirby can talk that talk. He's got a little slang to him when he gets in the locker room. I don't know. It's a little bit different than when he's talking to the media.
People in the South, man, where you come from, man, you can just kind of tell when people, we have a lot more in common than people tend to think. And when I hear Kirby Smart talk that talk, I was like, man, yeah, bro, that's like,
cultural similarities.
No limit. Yeah, man.
We're around each other a lot. I was talking about this earlier today. It's like, there's nowhere in Baton Rouge that you can go and not see black people. There's plenty of places in LA that you can go.
Yeah.
Or the Midwest. I mean, I tell people that all the time. Yeah. A little bit different. But last thing before we get out of here, it's the best thing. This is our Lee Corso, head pick gear basically at this point. Not to put too much pressure on him. I kind of want to call this segment Van Wilder, Van Wildest, but again, it is Big Van on campus. And Van, I turn the keys over to you. What's on your mind this week?
What do you call it when a guy royally fucks up, then uses a neck brace to get sympathy? Listen, before you guys answer that question, let me tell you what happened. There was a gentleman who apparently was watching players, or next to the end zone in the Bills and Ravens game. And he did what fans do sometimes when they get overzealous. He hit a player on the head as they were walking by, and then there was a fracas. Well, this gentleman went on the news with a neck brace on to talk about his experience, to show frailty after he has antagonized some of the finest, most vicious, most dangerous athletes in the whole world. He challenged them, and now he wants to wear a neck brace. So he smacked them. So the question is, what do you call it when a guy royally fucks up and then uses a neck brace to get sympathy? This guy was in a neck brace. You call it the Bobby Petrino. You guys remember Bobby Petrino? The neck brace
going back to Arkansas, right?
After the motorcycle accident. Now, there's people that are listening, and they're saying, Van, that's not the Bobby Petrino, okay? The Bobby Petrino is when a powerful man from Arkansas has sex with a younger woman who works for him and nearly loses everything. That's the Bobby Petrino. And I'll tell you guys, that's actually not the Bobby Petrino. That's the Bill Clinton.
Oh, okay? Man.
All right? That's not the Bobby Petrino. It's the Bill Clinton. The neck brace is definitely the Bobby Petrino.
Or Andy Kaufman, right? It's one or the other, yeah.
Are you going to bring up
never
Epstein
showed up
too?
with the neck brace to get sympathy. But this guy did. And when he did it, I automatically thought, look, it's Bobby Petrino. Again, if you guys don't remember, there was the whole motorcycle accident. Bobby Petrino and one of the ladies that worked in the athletic department had been, and when he had the neck brace, he had the motorcycle accident. He showed up with the neck brace trying to get sympathy for people. And I saw the same thing, and it made me think of college football. Now, I don't know if this is going to work for this gentleman. I don't know if showing up with the neck brace, you see people do it in court, you see people do it in press conferences, you saw Bobby Petrino do it. I don't know if it's going to work for this gentleman. But it did get me thinking about one thing that I truly believe, and I want to run this past you guys. I think on the ticket of every major sporting event, there should be a waiver that says you consent to mutual combat the moment you make contact with a player in a threatening manner. A waiver, a contract on the ticket, meaning I'm not talking about the player runs into you, he grabs your popcorn, all of that stuff. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm not talking about if the player starts with you. But the moment you make contact with a player at a major sporting event, I'm not talking about at your kids' soccer games either, mutual combat should be instituted and allowed and initiated. Because I love it when pro athletes beat the hell, college athletes beat the hell out of people who have gone too far. I'll never forget it, guys. The Malice at the Palace, the guy runs up to, I think it was Ron Artest. You can play this down here if you guys want. And then he stops because he realized, yo, am I fucking up right now? He squared up.
I made a huge mistake. Yeah.
And he's like, am I fucking up right now?
Artest, man.
But he was too deep in. He couldn't get out. He had, like, you ever seen one of the videos where the lion is looking around and then he sees his prey? That's who that guy was, and he got fucked up. So when I saw this, I thought, number one, this guy's doing the Bobby Petrino. I fuck with that. College football. Number two.
It's a good connection, right?
This should have been way worse. We should have seen him on the TV missing some teeth with 2 black eyes, cuts over the top of his shit, the whole 9.
Why are you standing?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, he should have been in a wheelchair. He should have had the neck brace.
Bobby Petrino Jr., you don't do that, right? So every time I see something that reminds me of college football and it reminds me of those great Arkansas teams, remember Matt Jones? Talk about schisms.
Ryan, R.I.P. Ryan Mallett, man.
Ryan Mallett, a little later on. What was they had the 2 running backs.
Darren McFadden.
Peyton Hillis.
The whole team.
Felix Jones?
Felix Jones was there. Peyton Hillis was there.
Peyton Hillis. They were all in the same backfield. That's right.
Yeah, they were 3 deep.
Like, loaded with talent. And also, coached by a man that if you show him a little something in the athletic department, right? You give him a little, you know what I'm saying? Bobby Petrino's the kind of guy say, hey, Coach Petrino, how you doing? No, it's not how you doing, Coach Petrino. It's how you're doing, youngster. And I like that type of shit, Tate. I like that type of shit.
Can I give you a happy ending to the Petrino story, by the way? The young lady that was allegedly on the motorcycle, she had a fiance at the time. They're actually married now. And they actually, they got through that whole situation. So
I can imagine a scenario in which you can pitch that to your fiance and they feel sympathy for you as opposed to anger.
Yeah.
But I think the thing with Petrino, though, it comes back to the Bill thing, man. Petrino was 51 years old at that time. He never thought he'd see another 25-year-old naked.
She was the original Jordan.
I'll never thought with you. He's too young for that. I don't give that credit. I don't give that. I understand you, Joe. 51 is 51.
No, man. Plenty of time.
No 25-year-old dreams of sleeping with a 51-year-old man.
I just think that 51, you're still in the game. If you're 71, I give you if 51, if you're 51 and the coach of the team, if you're 51 or like think about successful 51-year-old guys, they can still get it. Now 71 is when the women started asking questions about themselves, taking showers, crying, the whole 9. But 51, you can still get it.
I mean, the head ball coach.
Yeah, I still think, man, because he had been married. He's an older man. There's no, it's probably you still can get it, but you don't expect it. Like maybe if he had been single or he was out there, he probably like, well, I probably could do a little something. People may start asking questions and I may look unserious, but this is my life. But regardless, there's no way he thought he would see a naked 25-year-old body again, and it fucked him up.
I'll just tell you this before we get out of here. Just think about what they was doing. She had turned his whole life around. This man was on a motorcycle, right?
Oh, bro, yeah, he was out. He was living.
Just think about. I just want everybody to think about something. Think about how quickly it changes. One moment, you're Bobby Petrino. You're on top of you're the most popular man in your state, other than the people that run Walmart, right? and the wind is blowing through your hair. You're on a motorcycle with a 25-year-old woman.
Long
you guys
legs
are
all around you.
fucking listening to Leonard Skinner. It is one of the best moments. And then the next moment, boom, neck brace, press conference, all bruised up, and it's the beginning of the descent. I guess he's back now. But that's
you're
what I'm
literally in a
talking about.
ditch.
That's Big Van on campus.
That's Big Van on campus.
Big Van, that was good, man.
That was
There's some
good.
names,
And honestly, like I like a little harken back to the old days of college football. I mean, people forget Bobby Petrino got that job at Arkansas by quitting the Falcons job. Like before they could interview him, he had to quit the Falcons job. So he literally had a meeting in Atlanta. He left the original meeting, which was secret, to go quit in Arthur Blank's office, then went back to sign his contract at Arkansas. So that's how he even ended up at Arkansas. So I mean, that's college football for you right there. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. Joel.
Before we go, can I read this one sentence from a story?
Yeah, please.
At one point last October, Petrino and I won't say the woman's name were sitting in a car, eating lunch and talking, and quote, she said, "Are you going to kiss me?" According to Long's notes of his April 10 conversation with Petrino. He then wrote, "Kissed on lunch outing." Next sentence. It's unclear when the relationship turned sexual. Dorrell said the two had been intimate 4 to 6 times since around September. I mean, bro, look, man, that's an amazing, those are some amazing, things that are going on right there, man. Bobby Petrino, man, at the time.
Good football coach.
Yeah, at the time, I'm like, that's crazy. But I'm 47 now, and as you get older, you're kind of like, I kind of see how that might have happened. So,
oh my God.
No, I mean that's
like in the show, Tate.
Okay.
Tate.
No, I mean I can't. The thing is, I can understand it. It doesn't mean that I would do it. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Save that for Blue Sky.
I love my wife.
Let's get that on a t-shirt. Shout out to Big Van on campus. Shout out to Joel Anderson. Shout out to everybody listening to Ring Your Tailgate. Look at this. That's a lovely family right there. Man. A beautiful family. Right. We appreciate everybody tuning into the show. Going to be a fun week. We'll be back live on Saturday. We're having a lot of fun live on Saturday. So please come join us. Come hang out. And again, this is Ring Your Tailgate, and we will talk to you very soon. Must be 21 or older and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.